Small towns are supposed to feel safe, quiet streets, familiar faces, nothing out of place. But sometimes, the reason nothing changes is because everyone is pretending not to notice. In a small town, nothing goes unnoticed. So when something appears where it shouldn't be, or something starts happening that no one can explain, people don't panic. They just stop talking about it. These are 3 true nightmares from small towns that never made sense. I grew up in a town small enough that people noticed when anything changed. A new car, a light left on too long, a house that looked different than it did the day before. So when the upstairs window of the old Keller house was open one morning, people noticed. That house had been empty for years. No power, no owner, no reason for anything about it to change. But there it was, second floor window, wide open. At first, I thought maybe someone had finally bought the place. It had been talked about for a while. Who might fix it up? Who might move in? But as the days went on, nothing else changed. No car in the driveway, no lights at night, no movement inside. Just that window, open. Every time I passed it, I found myself looking up at it, waiting for something, anything. A curtain moving, a shadow crossing, but there was never anything until one night. I was driving home late, later than usual, and the street was empty. No cars, no porch lights, just the hum of the street light near the Keller house. As I passed it, I glanced up like I always did, and this time, there was someone there, standing behind the open window, perfectly still, not leaning out, not moving, just standing there. I slowed down without thinking, tried to focus on the shape, but the street light flickered, and for a second, everything went dark. When it came back on, the window was empty. I didn't stop the car, I just kept driving, but I didn't sleep much that night. The next morning, I drove past again. The window was closed, completely shut, like it had never been open at all. That should have been the end of it. But the day after that, it was open again, same position, same angle. And that's when I realized something was wrong, because I hadn't imagined it. Other people had seen it too, at the gas station, at the diner. People were talking about it quietly, different stories, same details. The window would open, someone would be there, and then it would close again. No one ever saw them leave, no one ever saw them arrive. After about a week, a few of us decided to go check the house. Middle of the day, bright out, no reason to be afraid, just curiosity. That's what we told ourselves. We checked the front door first, still locked. Same rusted handle, same warped wood. It hadn't been opened in years. The lower windows were still covered too. Boards nailed in from the outside. No gaps, no broken glass, no way in. We walked around the house, once, twice, a third time. Every entry point was sealed. And that's when someone pointed up. The second floor window was open, wide open. We all just stood there staring at it, because none of us had brought a ladder. And even if we had, there was no reason that window should have been unlocked. Not after all those years. There was a side door we hadn't noticed before, half hidden behind overgrown bushes, unlocked. That didn't make sense either. We didn't talk about it. We just went inside. The air inside was stale, thick with dust. Every step we took left clear footprints behind us, which is why we all noticed it at the same time. There were no other footprints, none. No sign anyone had walked through that house recently. We moved slowly, room by room, everything empty, everything untouched, until we reached the stairs. And for some reason, None of us wanted to go up, but we did anyway. The floor creaked louder upstairs. The air felt different, colder, still, like the house was holding its breath. We reached the room with the open window, and it was empty. No furniture, no movement, no sound, just us floating in the light. I walked over to the window, looked out, then reached for the frame. It didn't move. I pushed harder. Nothing. Then one of the others said quietly, "It's locked." We all stopped, because we'd all seen it, from outside, wide open. We left the house after that. Didn't talk much. Didn't try to explain it. But the next morning, the window was closed again. And later that afternoon, it was open. Some things in small towns don't make sense, and some things, people just stop questioning. If you're enjoying these stories, make sure to like and subscribe, because the next one is something the entire town heard, but no one could ever find. It started as a noise, low, rhythmic, almost like something dragging. At first, only a few people mentioned it. Late at night, usually after midnight, when the town went quiet enough that even small sounds carried. People described it the same way, a slow scraping sound coming from beneath the street. Most of us didn't believe it. Small towns always have stories like that, something unexplained, passed around until it becomes folklore. I didn't take it seriously, not until I heard it myself. I was walking home past Main Street one night, a little after midnight. The shops were closed, streetlights flickering just enough to make everything feel dimmer than it should have been. That's when I heard it, a long, slow drag, like something heavy being pulled across concrete. I stopped walking. The sound stopped. I stood there, listening. Nothing, just the hum of the streetlight above me. I told myself it was probably pipes, or maybe something shifting underground, so I started walking again. And the sound came back, same pace, same rhythm, right under me. I slowed down. It slowed. I stopped. It stopped. That's when the realization hit me. It wasn't random. It was reacting to me. I moved faster. The sound followed, always just beneath the surface. I could feel it now, faint vibrations through the soles of my shoes, like whatever was down there wasn't far below at all. I didn't run, but I didn't take my time either. I got off Main Street as quickly as I could. The moment I stepped onto the sidewalk at the corner, the sound stopped completely, like it couldn't follow me any further. The next day, I started asking around. That's when I realized this wasn't new. Older residents had been hearing it for years. Always the same. Always Main Street. Always late at night. Some people claimed they had felt it too. That faint vibration under their feet. Others said they heard something else mixed in with the dragging. Something quieter, more controlled, like movement. The town eventually brought in a crew to check the sewer lines. They closed off the part of the street, tore open a section of pavement. We all stood there, watching as they worked. If something was down there, this would be the moment we'd find out. But there was nothing. No damage, no animals, no tunnels, just normal pipes and packed dirt. They sealed it back up by the end of the day, said everything looked fine. That night, the sound came back, louder, clearer, and this time, more people heard it, not just the dragging. Something else, a second sound, faint, but unmistakable. Footsteps, slow, deliberate, walking beneath the street. And they weren't random, they were following, keeping pace with whoever was above. I stopped walking Main Street after that. Most people did. The town got quieter at night. People took longer routes home, avoided the center altogether. But every once in a while, someone new would move into town, someone who hadn't heard the stories, and they'd make the mistake of walking alone. And the next day, they'd ask the same question we all did, the same one we stopped answering. Did you hear that? Under the road. By that point, people in town had learned something important. If something feels wrong, you don't go looking for answers, because sometimes the answer is worse than not knowing. And the last story is one no one in that town will talk about anymore. There was a house at the edge of town that never turned its porch light off. It didn't matter what time it was, morning, afternoon, middle of the night, that light was always on. At first, it was just something people joked about. Every small town has a house like that, something a little off that everyone notices, but no one really questions. People said the owners were just forgetful, said maybe they were older, or maybe they had a timer that didn't work right. But there was one problem with that. No one had seen the owners in years, not moving out, not coming back, nothing. The house wasn't abandoned though. That's what made it worse. The grass was always cut. The porch was clean. The mailbox was never full. Packages never sat for more than a few hours. Someone was maintaining it, but no one ever saw who. I lived 3 houses down, so I passed it every day. And after a while, I started noticing patterns. The light never flickered, never dimmed. It didn't even change brightness between day and night. It was just on, constant, like it wasn't meant to be turned off. Then, one night, something changed. I was walking home later than usual, close to midnight. The street was quiet, completely empty. And as I got closer to the house, I noticed the front door was open, just slightly, not wide, just enough to leave a thin black line between the door and the frame. The porch light was still on, bright, too bright. I slowed down without meaning to. Something about it felt wrong, not dangerous exactly, just unnatural, like the house wasn't supposed to be open. I stood there longer than I should have, staring at that gap, waiting for something to move. Nothing did. Eventually, I walked home, told myself it was nothing, but the next morning, the door was closed again, perfectly, like it had never been open. A week passed, then it happened again. Same time, same amount, same silence. This time, I didn't stop across the street. I walked closer, close enough to stand at the edge of the driveway. The porch light buzzed faintly above me, that low electrical hum you only notice when everything else is quiet. The door was open again, just enough. I don't know why I did it, but I stepped onto the porch. Each step felt louder than it should have. The wood creaked under my weight, and for a second I thought I heard something inside. Not movement, not footsteps, just a shift, like air being displaced. I leaned slightly toward the opening and looked inside. And that's when I realized something was very wrong. The inside didn't match the outside. From the street, the house looked normal, lived in, but inside, there was almost nothing. No furniture, no decorations, no signs of anyone living there. Just bare walls, bare floors, and a long hallway leading into darkness. At the far end of that hallway, there was a single chair, placed directly in the center, facing the front door, facing me. I didn't see anyone sitting in it, but I had the overwhelming feeling that someone had been, recently, like I had just missed them. Then something happened that I still can't fully explain. The door moved, slowly, not slamming, not pushed, just drifting, closing. Without a sound, I stepped back immediately. My heart started pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. The door clicked shut, and the moment it did, the porch light flickered, just once. I went home and locked every door. Didn't sleep much that night. The next morning, I told a few people. That's when I found out something I wish I hadn't. I wasn't the only one who'd gone up to that house. Other people had too. Different nights, different times, and every single one of them said the same thing. The house looked empty, but it didn't feel empty. Eventually, someone called for a welfare check. Police showed up that afternoon, went inside, searched the entire place, every room, every closet, every inch. They came back out about 20 minutes later, told everyone the same thing. No one's living here. But that wasn't what stuck with me. It was what one of the officers said quietly when he thought no one was listening. He said, "There's only one set of footprints in there, and they never leave the house." A few days later, I walked past again. Didn't stop. Didn't look directly at it, but I could feel it. That same pressure, that same wrong feeling. And just as I passed the front of the house, I glanced at the door. It was closed, but for a split second, I thought I saw something move behind it. Not clearly, just a shape standing on the other side, close enough, like it was listening. The porch light is still on, every night, and no one in town walks past that house after dark anymore, because every now and then, people swear they can see a shadow shift right behind the door, and sometimes, if you look long enough, it looks like it's getting closer. Small towns don't always hide their secrets. Sometimes they live with them. If you made it this far, you already know. Some things aren't meant to be explained. And if you listen closely, your town might be hiding something too. This is Nightmares of Small Towns. Sleep carefully.